here at the Melanin Effect. Joining me today, I have Nicholas, Dominic, Francois, and I have Miss Leah, aka Fox, Silver. Just silver.
Don't call me
that.
I'm
sorry. But that's how people know who I'm talking about.
Silver Vixen.
Oh, I love that, and I gotta do a photo shoot too. We're gonna get on that later.
Okay, we make it happen.
Get on that later. So today, I brought them here today as guests because I want to discuss when it comes to marriage, what steps to take to have a successful marriage, have an enduring marriage, make it last, not quitting when things get hard, also submitting, and also commitment when it comes to marriage. So I brought them here because I feel like we've already had our discussions on my post where everybody and their mom are basically just against like female opinions when it comes to submitting, and they have their opinions on
certain female opinions,
and it's like they don't know whether or not they want this or their female. We don't know who their female is, but they make it seem like, oh, well, y'all are being ungrateful, or you should be glad that you got a man that does this, that, and the third. And that's really not the issue. That's not the situation to me. So me coming to you guys is to get a better understanding. So my millennium,
your millennial generation
in this case, can get a better understanding of how it's supposed to be, why you should take necessary steps in marriage to keep the foundation together. Always, you're gonna disagree. Nobody's marriage is perfect, but at the end of the day, I want to know what steps to take to keep it going.
So I'm just gonna.
Oh, by the way, I do want to know, how long have y'all been married?
So we've been married 25 years. Last May marked 25 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's really a blessing to get here. And it's interesting that we're having this topic. It's so timely. We're actually doing a project right now called Relationship Goals. Mm-hmm. And you've probably seen us posting pictures of couples. At the end, we're going to do a compilation with a book, possibly a documentary, but right now it's just going to be like a coffee table book where we're getting advice from other couples, because a lot of times people will come to us and be like, what advice do you have on longevity? And I used to say, ask somebody else, girl, because
I can't tell you.
By the grace of God, we made it. If you've been married for a couple decades and a half a decade like we have, everything is going to happen, or has happened, or might happen. Like, nobody's marriage is the same. To expect someone else's situation to just fit into yours when it's a completely different set of individuals is completely unrealistic. What works for Jack and Mary ain't gonna work, for Leah and Nicholas. So, I mean, it's just a really complex question that I don't think can necessarily be answered. But what I can do is tell people what we did, and they can take it and leave it and use what works and don't work. So, yeah. You got anything you want to add to that?
We do need a male point of view. Compromising, like when you, for instance, and I'm asking this question because a lot of times, like with her photography, let's just say, this is just a random in this case. Let's say she's got this NFL player that he wants her to take some photos of, and you may not feel comfortable with it. But at the end of the day, she feels like it can, boost her business, boost her clientele up, bring more, models in, and, more money too, in this case. So compromising when it comes to that, how do y'all deal with that?
First, I want to say he is the master photographer.
Okay.
And I study under his tutelage.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you can say, before you say, if there's an NFL player that want me to take pictures of them, I got you, boo. Like, come on.
Okay.
We gonna do this. All money green, spend the same.
That's right.
But go ahead, your turn.
So, it's your original question, right?
Why you gotta take a deep breath?
I wish there was a simple answer.
It don't have to be simple.
And I'm gonna try to keep it short and precise. But the reality is, especially with us, you know, because the name of the show is Melanin Experience,
Effect.
Melanin Effect.
For us melanated people,
in our history, we've gone through some shit, and we carry that. A lot of us carry that baggage forward, right? So whether it be infidelity, whether it be, you know,
insecurities, holiday,
abuse,
trauma,
you know, narcotics, or like, you know, or alcohol, or drug abuse is what I'm trying to say. There's all these little elements that we might bring into our relationship, and we maybe didn't always have the greatest examples, right? So when you get into a relationship, it's like you think, because of the way you grew up, that's how your spouse, or that's how you. But the truth of the matter is, if you're doing it right, you're evolving, right? And you have to have the kind of patience to know where the balance and where the cutoff is, right? You know, all right, I know, to know that this person isn't necessarily, they're young, right? If they're in their early 20s or whatever, they don't know shit, right? And we grew up together,
we did,
right? So I used to always say that you gotta survive it, because if you're in a relationship and marriage, as long as we've been, you're gonna put each other through a lot of things, and then what ends up happening is, once you survive certain things together, you've overcome certain challenges, you're like, that's nothing compared to, right? You have that frame of reference, but you look back and you're like, oh wow, we've evolved and we've grown together, right? Now, again, for my daughters, we have.
Can I talk about survive though? That word survive. Okay, remind me to talk about that.
We have two daughters, and if my daughters were to go through some of the things that we've gone through, I probably would tell them to get out. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm glad that we got this far, right? And can have this level of appreciation and love for each other, because we went through it together. If that makes sense.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, great. That was a great answer too. I like that. So we're gonna be right back. Y'all just listen to some music. We got some official Bjay music dropping, and we'll be right back with the Melanin Effect.
But it's not you, it's me, babe. You broke my heart so easy, baby. But you ain't gon' miss me till I'm gone. You know what you did was wrong. I take the blame, I'm moving on.
Alright, and we're back. Welcome back to the Melanin Effect. Again, we were discussing, you know, as far as compromising, and we have Mr. Nicholas finishing that up for us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one to add to what I was saying earlier. If you go into a relationship with the mindset of this person has to meet, these expectations, they're always gonna fail to meet those expectations, right? And
true.
so you have to you gotta reach a point of I love you unconditionally, not I love you if, because if it's I love you if,
it's not gonna work.
It ain't gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
So that's all I was gonna say.
Okay.
Got you. Well, so you had said something about surviving it to get it, because we're still evolving as individuals, surviving it till you get to that place of enlightenment. And I just want to address that part. That part we always disagree with, because as melanated people, we have survived so much. At some point, we need to thrive, and I just don't think, I would not want my daughters to have to survive a relationship. You know what I mean? I want them to go into a relationship with somebody who's right, who at a minimum is kind, patient, kind, and sees them as their human equal, somebody that they also want to just protect and love, and they should also want to protect and love their partner and that relationship. And when you're with somebody like that, what is there to survive? They are kind with you. Their communication comes from a place of softness and sincerity. And I think that men have to live up to being these like macho, hard people.
Prideful.
When in reality, if you allowed yourself to be softer, especially within the confines of a loving relationship, like, you will have more happiness. You will have peace. Your house will be peaceful. You know what I'm saying? But both of y'all have to like have that understanding and agreement. Like, it's taken us 25 years to get where we are, and we're in the best place that we've ever been. But baby, them first 10, 15 years,
Ooh, I could just
it's
imagine.
by the grace of God.
Well, see, this generation, I think when they get to that little speed bump, they're not even married yet. I know plenty of people have been dating for like over 5 to 6 years.
I would never.
I'm telling you, and
Hell no.
at this point, you see it on TikTok. I see a lot of TikTok people who have their podcasts and they're discussing it, and they're saying how, well, the reason that he didn't give you this ring is because you're not doing this, or you're not this material, or you didn't bring this to the table, or you didn't come with this, you know, in the beginning, or
oh my God,
he just
throw
looked
the
at
table
you,
away.
right? He
Throw
just
the whole
looked
damn
at you.
table away.
He looks at you as, you know, this particular female. He doesn't look at you as his wife.
First of all, female. Ugh,
yeah,
red flag.
Listen,
if you call me a female, I don't trust anything you say after that.
Or the type of woman that they want to be with. And like he said earlier, it goes to their like childhood, what they went through during childhood, or, you know, even it could even be a previous relationship. So they're feeling like coming into this one, well, I went through this, or this is how I overcame that situation. So I feel like we're gonna be on that same type of level of disagreeing on a specific topic per se, or my insecurities are coming up around this type of topic or environment, or when they go out with this person, or when they hang out with that person. So I feel like at the end of the day, coming into the relationship, you do not need to have expectations. They do need to be kind, but my generation, it's like they looking at TV, they looking at Lil Baby, or they looking at this type of person, or they're like, okay, well, I gotta be like this, because if I'm not gonna have this type of woman. I'm not gonna have a submissive woman. That's or I'm not gonna have a, you know, and it's built off of that. And at this point, I want to surpass that. Like me, if I do date somebody, I'm trying to know your past. I'm trying to know your family. I want to know if y'all are family oriented, if y'all have like cookouts or like Sunday dinners, or, you know,
right.
Like, I need to know that y'all are together at this point, because that's what I aspire. That's what I want. I want to break this little curse we got in our family, but that's on another subject. But it's just like, what can I do to close that gap up to where we're not dating for like 6 years, and then maybe when I'm 40, that's when you decide
I got it.
Yeah.
you're gonna
But
propose.
I'll say this too, like our daughters, unlike us, grew up under some extreme privilege, right? So the advice that we would give them,
in comparison,
so
to others, they did not have privilege at all. They're just middle income kids.
But what I'm saying is, so the advice that you give them, and you take an opposite extreme. I don't know, somebody, a couple that's, you know, trying to get out of a war-torn country or something like that. They're going through a whole totally different set of circumstances, right? So you can't give everybody the exact same like advice, because they're not coming from the same place. They're not they're not having to overcome the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even culturally, you know, like, you know, you got people that, you know, crazy religious backgrounds, you know, like et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So when all of that comes into play, and you're trying to tell somebody like, this is how you do it. Like, this is how you do it based off of like your experience and where you're at,
Right.
Financially, globally, where, you know, where do you live? Like, you know what I mean?
But I think that goes back to, because she said something about like, you shouldn't have expectations of the other person. And to a degree, I mean, so like we interviewed this one couple, Yvette and Joe, and they had the shortest interview, and it was the most common sense shit I ever, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
I'm allowed to cuss? Okay. It was the most common sense shit I ever heard. I was like, yo, like literally they were like, listen, we set some ground rules. Be kind, speak to me nice. We gonna work it out before we go to sleep, and you know, like, and I think it was like really, I think that was it. There maybe have been a couple. I wrote them down. I don't remember all of them, but like literally they're like, we don't yell, nobody raises their voice, and we don't argue in front of our children. And that's a hardcore rule.
That's hard.
That's like 35 years married.
Not in front, but it's hard to eat, not even for them to even hear you. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's like one of those arguments where
she's like, my kids never
like
heard her kids never heard them arguing. Her kids never heard them arguing. And my thing was, they said their life been peaceful. I've never met another couple that been married some 3 decades and their life been peaceful. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you do have to create rules.
That's what
you have to create rules, and everybody got to agree to those rules.
I agree. Like he said earlier, you know, everybody, what works for others may not work for that particular couple. But we're gonna be right back with the Melanin Effect. You guys tune in. Stay tuned.
But you got me in my feelings, yeah. Do I love you, baby? Not at all. But it's something about your kisses, yeah. I tried to move on. This hold you got on me too strong. My trust is fucked up, but I'm fucking with you.
Alright, we're back here at the Melanin Effect. We are discussing communication, being submissive, and also being able to commit to one person. Not 50 people pimping out here. I can't stand it. If you're not gonna be with just me, we can't talk. I can't share you. That's not gonna work.
Right.
It's too much stuff out here for me to be dealing with somebody who's dealing with 20 other people. That's not gonna work. So the topic that I do really want to discuss is being submissive. Especially when it comes to, a lot of people say that it's always got to be the female, the woman, excuse me. I gotta stop saying that. Everybody says it has to be the woman to be submissive in the relationship. Not stating that, you know, it can't be done by both the man and the woman, but mainly they're stating that we got these hot girls out here that don't cook, they don't clean, you know, Cardi B's and the Megs. So they're stating that.
Cardi B.
I love Cardi B. That's my girl.
So when you say submissive, you mean like just following somebody blindly, or because having chores doesn't make you submissive?
No, it's not necessarily that. Submissive, basically, like for instance, from my understanding, I was dating this one guy, and he was saying, "Are you going to be able to submit to your husband? Because you keep saying that you want a husband." And so, of course, I asked him, like, "What do you mean? What do you mean submit to my husband?" And he was saying, like, if he wants you to have his dinner ready by 5 o'clock, or he wants a certain, you know, the house a certain way when he gets home or throughout the week, or basically wanting you to look a certain way, dress a certain way. And to me, that's controlling. That's controlling. But at the same time, I guess it's more respect, out of respect for her husband in this case. That's what I get out of it. But I look at it as being controlling. And I don't like that.
What you gotta say?
I think that's like an old school antiquated view of like, you know, if I pay the mortgage on time every month, am I submitting? I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, right?
As a man, as a man of the household.
As a human being, like,
right.
I mean, like, she could pay the mortgage. I don't have a problem.
Just as somebody, just as a capable
Yeah.
adult who lives in the house, we're doing all the things we need to do.
Yeah, like we have agreed, like, you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and it's, the expectation is you're gonna do it when it's supposed to be done, not like, you know, because it has to be done, not because you're submitting. You know?
Okay, but let's keep it 100 though. When we first got married,
We ain't talking about that.
no, because like, a lot of the, maybe she's talking to millennials, right? Who are like in their 30s, and maybe, I don't know what came after the millennials, but whoever those people are, they're younger, whoever the people in their 20s. Like when we first got married 25 years ago, and we was in our 20s, we really both did try hard to like fit into what society said a husband is supposed to be and what a wife is supposed to be. So I was trying to cook and clean and let him be the boss of everything and be in charge. And I'm gonna be so honest, when them kids started coming, I was so miserable. I was so freaking unhappy because it's so impossible to like literally do every freaking thing. And like literally everything. I'm changing every diaper. I ain't sleeping. I'm getting up every 2 hours to breastfeed somebody, so I ain't getting no rest, and I'm cooking. And when he get home from work, the house got to be clean, but I ain't slept, and I done took care of babies all day, and I want to cry too. I want to cry when the baby cry. I'm just like literally
exhausted, mentally,
tired, miserable. No there's no village nowadays. People don't live near their families. Ain't no village. You're alone as a parent. At least back in 100 years ago, you lived. Stop that. 100 years ago, you lived near family members and people like mothers and aunties and stuff that will help you with your kids. But nowadays, we are so insulated because we live in a capitalist society where everybody's expected to be individualistic. So you are on your own as a family. And so if all he has to do is go to work, come home, eat, and go to sleep, and I have to do everything else, that's like an unfair balance. But for him, it's like, well, you're not appreciating me because I work all day. I'm tired. I pay every bill. So I got the stress of like the financial load of this family, and that weighs me down. Bro, get off me. Like the hell?
He
Like,
don't want you to hear him.
I'm expressive. I use my hands. Anywho, the fuck? I forgot what the hell I was saying now.
But basically, you were
But no,
exhausted.
like, so we're both, but like, so being put in those molds that society put on us, right? Because I ain't put that on me and he ain't put that on him.
Yeah.
Was very hard for both of us. And I had to like try to see it from his way. And I hope he tries to see
Point
it
of
from
view,
my
yeah.
way. You know what I'm saying?
That was the most liberating experience that I ever had. Is one day I woke up and I realized that there's no such thing as a wife. That's a social construct, right? Because it's just an idea, right? If I go to Afghanistan, that idea takes a whole different shape, right? They'd be like, oh my God, your wife is an infidel. like, you know what I mean? It's a whole different construct. Right? If I go to the Amazon jungle,
No hate to Afghanistan.
if I go to the Amazon jungle, it's going to be a whole different construct, right? So you got to kind of choose what ideologies like you want to follow, like what's real, right? Because the thing that I tell people all the time is be careful what you believe, because it might not be true. When I go back 20, 30 years ago, the things that I believed as like the things that I held true, this is a fact, a woman's supposed to do. I'm like, nah,
It's
like
changed up, yeah. You can't, and that goes back to what he said earlier. What worked back then, or for certain, marriage couples, would not work in this day. To me, I've never been married, but I've been in relationships, long-term relationships, and I just feel like communicating, it goes back when you're tired.
Huge.
You're tired, so it's like I need to let him know, hey, babe, I'm tired. Can you just do this? I understand you just got off work, but it's like compromising, communicating, being able to work it out.
But
together.
you gotta be married to the type of person that you can say
I'm tired.
And he'd be
and
like,
sometimes they might pick up on it. Now I've seen married couples, not saying that, but I've seen it. They're so in sync. They're like, okay, hold on. They're paying attention to their body language per se, and they're like, okay, look, something's off. You know what I'm saying? So let me go check and see what's going on. And sometimes you can feel it. It's like the energy isn't right, or whatever the case may be.
So when those babies are small, that's when couples struggle the most, and that's when y'all having the less intimacy. There's nothing less sexy than having a literal baby and toddler. Like, I don't want to have
hanging
sex.
off you.
No, I want to have sex. I'm like, I don't
leaking.
feel sexy, and I'm tired. And you know what? I don't want to jump your bones if I'm tired. Like, let me get a day of rest. And then I might feel a little sexy. Do the dishes and I'm like, oh my God, you hot. But I'm tired. Like, and so those years, I think couples struggle the most when they have small children.
And
because
that should be,
he wants sex.
Right.
And I don't want to be touched because I'm tired.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So that's a great, point. Just compromising and doing what you got to do. So, yeah.
Submissions.
As far as submission goes, to me, like I said, I needed those answers because this is not 1950 or this is not 1970s or 80s, 90s, however it was set up back then.
But also, why in the dictionary, if you look up the word submission in the dictionary, there's no folks be like, but I'm submitting to you and you're submitting to me. You're full of shit, okay? Like, go to a dictionary. This is the definition of the word submit. And basically it means that I am going to be subjugated to this person. They are my boss, right? And I am submitting my will. Why? I have God-given intelligence. Why would I submit my will to another being? Right. Mind you, I used to be a pick-me type. I used to be a submissive, doting wife. I was miserable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting here saying, why do you want someone to submit to you? If you love and respect that person, wouldn't you also respect their thoughts and their feelings? Wouldn't you respect their heart? Wouldn't you want to protect their heart? Like, I don't trust any person, male or female, that wants someone to submit to them, because I would never want that from somebody I love and respect.
And that's in conclusion, that's basically that's the answer that I was looking for. Because a lot of people, when I made the status of it, it was too much back and forth with men. So in conclusion, this is the Melanin Effect, and you guys stay tuned and follow us on all of our social media. We're on IG, TikTok, and YouTube. Let us know in the comments what you guys think is reasonable for a marriage, whether it's being submissive, whether it's just communication and being able to pick up on your partner, husband, wife, spouse, what their energy is bringing. And I thank y'all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it so much.